1 in 7 young people from 11 to 19 years old experience at least one mental disorder. The COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns have caused teenagers' mental health to worsen.
Peer pressure is a very prominent factor in mental health, especially in young people.
37% of young people between the age of 12 and 17 have been bullied online.
Today we will be looking at one of the most important topics in the world, mental health. In this documentary, we will look at cyberbullying, drug usage and peer pressure. All these topics link in with mental health and can play a big role in your life and how you view things.
The latest prevalent data for England on young people's mental health show that at least 1 in 7 young people from 11 to 19 years old suffer at least one mental disorder. According to the NHS, the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns have caused teenagers' mental health to worsen. Okay, Dante, how would you define mental health?
In my opinion, mental health is something that is like personal battles that someone has, and it would slowly kind of affect their mind in a way where it's like how they see things, how they act around people, and I feel like it's something that isn't talked about much, and yeah.
Have you ever experienced a mental health problem?
Yes, I personally have. In terms of secondary school, where I was picked on quite a bit, and when it came to that, it was like very severe for me because in terms of coping, I didn't know how to cope. I didn't really speak to people. The best way how I managed with it was like listening to music. That was kind of my main way, like an escape in terms of listening to it, and it just helped me feel better in terms of my mood and just spirit, because speaking to people back then I found it very hard to.
Do you believe that there is a good support system for people suffering with mental health?
I would say that there is a good support, but I feel like it can definitely be improved on, because there's still loads of people now in terms of like speaking to people such as teachers, doctors, they don't feel as comfortable. So in terms of people, probably a one-to-one with someone who specializes in mental health and can get to know the person instead of just like strangers, could build like a good relationship with them. And then in terms of that, the person affected by the mental health would always feel comfortable talking to the specialist, and then within there it's like problems can easily be attended to.
What advice would you give to someone suffering with mental illnesses themselves?
I would say the way how I dealt with it was taking my mind off it in terms of doing something that I loved, which was listening to music. So I would suggest for people out there, do something that you love and try keep these negative thoughts out of your head, because all these negative thoughts, it's like it will just make your life seem like a living hell. When life only gets better in the end, you just have to keep pushing, because life is what you make it. So with all these negative thoughts building up inside, you want to try keep that positive and like just not attend to them as much. If you can do that, then it will just help in terms of your battle with mental health. And also try speak to someone you trust, may that be family, friend, or someone professional. So yeah.
Peer pressure is a very prominent factor in mental health, especially in young people. Surprisingly, children between the ages of 10 to 14 are most vulnerable to peer pressure. This shows that young people are more likely to be roped into activities they feel uncomfortable with at a very young age. Also, social influence is also a big factor of peer pressure. This is due to young people wanting to be popular amongst friends, so this shows that age plays a big factor into whether or not a teenager is more likely to be involved in peer pressure.
Young children are the most who get affected to peer pressure between the age of 10 to 14, such as substance abuse, made more likely to engage teens who feel validated by the parents are more resistant to peer pressure. And age plays a factor in whether or not a teen is likely to go in social influence. 85% of men and women had been encouraged by people to take drinks, and the 1,697 people admitted into being pressured into drinking. By family knowledge based every day, 2,500 teens choose to abuse some type of pain reliever. How to solve being peer pressured? 1. Pay attention to how you feel. 2. Plan ahead. 3. Talk to the person and tell them how you feel to make them stop. 4. Talk to a friend with similar problems so you can talk to them about the problem.
Okay, so first of all, what are your experiences with peer pressure, if you have any?
Well, an experience I've had during year 7 or 8. So I was meant to be hanging out with my friends after school, but at the same time I was meant to be home to just stay home until my mum gets back. But they kept on like convincing me to come out and like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Oh, yes, it's gonna be fine, like your parents won't find out. But then I had like gut feeling I should stay home. And eventually, unfortunately, I gave in to the peer pressure and I went out with them. And about roughly an hour later, I got a message from my mum saying come home. And I knew I regretted falling into that peer pressure, and I just wished I could go back in time and just like say no, or go with my gut, which was to say no.
Okay. So, following your experiences, what advice would you give to a young person experiencing peer pressure?
An advice I'll give to a young person experiencing peer pressure is to just go with your gut, because more time your gut is more likely to be the right answer. Even though you might want to do it just to impress your friends, but there's going to be like consequences deep inside you, knowing that if you go out, do something that you get peer pressured into, it's not going to have a good outcome out of it.
So, what are your views on young people wanting to be popular and trying to fit in, so they can seek validation from their friends?
Well, advice I'll give to a young person trying to seek validation is being popular shouldn't be the first thing on your mind, but at this age you should be focusing on more stuff like school, getting good grades, your friends, family, just being with your family most of the time. And being popular shouldn't be the first thing on your mind, because it's not really going to benefit you in the future.
What impact do you think peer pressure has on the mental state of a young person?
Well, I think an impact peer pressure could have on a young person is maybe like anxiety and always wanting to seek validation from their friends, because they want to be like fit in, be cool, even if it means doing stuff that they're uncomfortable with, but they're willing to do that just to be like more popular or well known.
Yes.
So I think it can cause some negative effects on their mental health, and always trying to seek validation and just trying to be cool, even though they know it's not right, but they just want to do it just for some attention.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, I'm in my interview, so I'm going to be interviewing
Rossi.
Okay, Rossi, first question. What would you do to resist peer pressure?
To resist peer pressure, you need to have a mind of your own, and you need to be confident in yourself.
Okay, second question. What would you do to help somebody with peer pressure?
Can really help that person be confident, can help that person grow as a person within what they want to do.
Have your friends ever influenced you that have gone into peer pressure?
Yeah, when I was younger, my friends taught me into some dumb stuff.
What would you feel about getting peer pressured?
If I was to be peer pressured, I'd feel like it wasn't my will, like it wasn't something that I would want to do.
Okay. what do you think about peer pressure?
I think peer pressure is a way for people to have power over people. Really, if someone says do this or you're that or do this because I said so, then it's not really something that it's not your choice.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Victims of cyberbullying are at greater risk that those who haven't, as a result of their mental health, becomes affected and can lead to social behavior showing like only in 1/10 cyberbullying victims will inform a parent or trust adult of their abuse as they think it won't be taken serious. Students are almost twice as likely to attempt suicide of the cyberbully. Overall, from the facts stated, cyberbullying has been going to become a global problem. By who and how many people are affected by the issues?
Cyberbullying is a form of bullying that takes place online, like social media or online gaming. This can affect someone's mental health because it can lower their confidence and cause self-doubt. This can lead into potential suicide. 37% of young people between the age of 12 and 17 have been bullied online once. The cyberbullying is a global issue and it can cause impact in how someone grows up in the future.
In this extra documentary, we'll be talking about drug misuse and why it's such a big issue in the UK. What makes this such a big issue is how nowadays people use this way to cope instead of speaking about the problems or coping in a healthier way. What are your thoughts on drug misuse?
I think it's sad that people have to find comfort in drugs.
Why do you think people start abusing substances at a young age?
I think it's because people start trying things at that age, so it's more easy to start.
What piece of advice would you offer to addicts watching the documentary?
To try and see why they even do it, so they can stop.
What's one thing that can be considered helpful when trying to overcome addiction?
To reach out to someone and try to break the habit.
What's one piece of advice you would offer to addicts watching this documentary?
To try and break the habit and find the reason as to why you started.
Thank you for watching the documentary created by Youth Vision based on mental health, covering topics such as drug usage, peer pressure and cyberbullying. Myself, being a part of Youth Vision is something great for young people to come out of their comfort zone and build their confidence throughout a period of 5 weeks being in No Limits, where you'll be taught things such as team building, leadership, race, identity, confidence building, just to name a few. And then after the period of 5 weeks, you'd be put into a period of 7 weeks, which is leadership in practice, where you'd be using all of the stuff taught to you to create special projects, such as this documentary. I would like to say that my experience has been quite life-changing in terms of confidence and being able to help young people plan projects like this. And honestly, it's been really, really helpful. So thank you for watching this documentary, and if you are interested, be sure to get in touch, and thank you.